Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at this really cool looking little brushless speedboat by Racent. It is the Vector SR48. Again, this is brushless. This is a P&P version. There's also a ready to run version. We're going to take a look at this, take it out for a test drive on the lake, and a table review right after this. Okay guys, so let's take a closer look at the boat and then we'll get it on out to the lake for a test run. Now, before we look at the boat itself, we'll just briefly look over the box. As we can see here, there is a brushless version that says 50 kilometers per hour plus. And then on the other side here, there's some pieces inside the box are rattling around. 30 mile per hour plus is the brushed version. This is the, like as I mentioned in the very beginning there, a P&P version. There's a brushless ready to run, and then a brush. The P&P is sort of like plug and play, which means you got to put your controller. It doesn't come with a controller, receiver, or a battery. So this is just the boat itself. As I'll show you the insides, it does not come with a controller, receiver, or a battery. So what I'm going to do is I've got a Dumbo RC controller laying around along with the receiver, and I'll go over this again in a minute. And I have another 3S battery out of my other Racent Volantex Racent boat. You see it's got the Racent label there on it, and this will be perfect because you do need a battery with an XT60 connector, unless you want to try to swap, or you could get an adapter from like a Dean's plug to an XT60. So here is the boat. There's not much that comes with this. It's just the boat, this little bag of accessories, which is just a wrench, a spare propeller, and a Allen wrench and some Velcro for attaching the battery in there. And that's it. This in the boat. You know, this is one of these self-righting boats, as it says on the box. So if you flip this boat over, you can reverse forward and it'll pop itself back over. So you don't have to worry about it capsizing on the lake and then having to go get a real boat to go out and recover it. And of course, this is ready to run because a lot of people will buy the ready to run version of this. But for around 80 bucks, this is a good deal if you already have a controller laying around like I did. It makes it a lot more affordable than a ready to run package. Now it does have water cooling here. I think it was right here where the water is probably, I think it's expelled there. And then it comes in here somewhere on the back. Trying to find where that spot is. It comes in actually on the bottom here. So pretty sure it comes in the bottom and goes out on the other side here. And that runs through, I'll show you, they do that to help cool the motor and sometimes the ESC to keep it from you know, overheating, since there's no airflow inside of the hull of the boat. So I already got it unlocked. You just pull up and pull this out, and here's what comes with the P&P version. Now, if you get the ready to run version, you're going to have a receiver in here, and they're going to probably have the battery in here as well for storage. But here is your brushless motor, an outrunner motor there. Here is your steering servo, and here is a 20 amp ESC. Now they say on this that it's good for 2 to 4S. I don't know if that'll be visible in the video or not, but I wouldn't try 4S. I think on 20 amp you're probably going to blow it, especially a large capacity 4S. But 3S should be just fine. 2S would be obviously totally fine, just isn't going to be as fast. I'd like to go 3S. 2S is probably, you know, won't be as quick as I'd like to go on the lake. This is where I'm going to put that battery in here. It comes with some Velcro, so I'll put it in here and then attach the straps over it to secure it a little bit better. And again, it's got the water cooling that comes in here, and that just goes through this aluminum block, and that helps to cool the area here next to the motor is what that's for. Now sometimes I've seen them come in with these and also go around an ESC and the motor to try to cool both. On a 20 amp like that, they probably figure it's probably going to be okay. If you're going to drive this boat a couple of times, you have to save a few charged up batteries, open it up between runs, let this cool down for a moment so you don't end up, you know, blowing an ESC or something and just straining the whole system because of the heat build up. And then what I'll do is I'll put the I'm probably going to mount the the receiver somewhere right in here with some Velcro or double-sided tape, since I don't have a whole lot of excess servo wire here off the servo. There's plenty of extra wire here off the ESC, but I'll probably put it right in here. Again, I don't have it done yet, but it won't be that big of a deal. It's pretty common sense. You're going to put it in here. You're just going to plug it into the appropriate spots. I'll have to look more closely at the receiver. Again, I unplugged I was using this in another car. We'll plug it in, and then it's going to be really simple. You just obviously want to confirm your controls, so make sure you don't get your channels mixed up and then end up having the steering on the throttle and the throttle on the steering, or have them reversed. So I will check the rudders and everything to make sure that they all work correctly. If they don't, you usually can just have a servo reversing switch on the controller that will flip it around, or you can just pull it out and swap it around the other direction on the actual receiver itself. And then, of course, get this battery charged up and get in there. I haven't used this in a while, but it was right at storage voltage, so the battery should be okay. This should have a low voltage. Usually when it kicks down to a lower voltage, it will, it knows, the number of cells. It will then slow down to a low power state so you can recover it and bring it to shore. But that always leaves me a little worried on these boats because, I assume they'll work well, but whenever you're driving it back, I've had some that don't go long enough, and you gotta stop, let it rest, let the LiPo voltage come a little bit, give it a little bit more, and then it stops, and it can be scary. So, on a boat like this, it wouldn't be bad to just set a timer for, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes. Do that, and then just bring it back to shore, because they're not going to drive real long. That could be way too short. It could go a lot longer. Of course, it's going to also depend on the capacity of the battery. 2600 milliamp probably could go several more minutes than that at least. But I always liked, for the sake of my reviews, we don't need to drive the boat that long, and then I can bring it back in and don't have to worry about trying to recover a boat that's dead out in the middle of the lake. Now, I have not filmed the run or drive reviews on the lake just yet. Plan on doing that tomorrow. It's supposed to be very windy, so it would probably be a bit choppy on the lake, but again, this is self-riding. We should be just fine. I actually usually like to test self-riding if I can, either throwing the boat in upside down or just hope it flips over, because I've never had one of these that doesn't self-right, but everybody wants to make sure it doesn't work as advertised, because the last thing you want to do is, if a boat is getting out in the lake stranded, let's make sure that self-righting does work, and on this particular design, it always does. All right, guys, that should wrap up the table review. Again, very basic, not much to go over, especially on the PNP version. So let's get on out to the lake and see how this boat performs on 3S. So we'll be right back. Okay guys, I'm out at the lake and I have everything installed in here. As you guys can hopefully see, there's a little Dumble RC receiver that got mounted in there, and I got the 3S battery all plugged in here. So I've got it bound up. You got to make sure you got the servo directions correct on this. I originally had the propeller going the wrong direction, and I had to go back home and tighten this back because the whole drive shaft deal came out. So it should be all good to go now. So I'm going to, I got Katie here with me today. My daughter, she wants to drive the boat. So we'll throw it in the water here in a moment and get it out there and see how it does. So I'll be right back, guys. Guys, so Katie's over here. The boat's facing away. Go ahead, Katie, give it some throttle and let's take it out. And, all right. Nice. Keep it going so we don't take on any water. Very nice. Keep giving it full throttle. Let's see how fast it goes. Oh, she's gonna bring it over this way. Is it good? Is it not going well? Come this way. You going slow? Okay. I want to make sure that we're not taking on water or something. That's okay. It's a little bit, the battery's on one side, so I think that's making the boat a little bit tilted. It's a pretty heavy battery. There you go. Give it full speed, Katie. There we go. Very nice. Let me just see if I can run a 1-speed lap, and then I'll let Katie do it some more. I want to see. I want to see how fast it goes, guys. Well, it turns on a dime, guys. This boat's great. Oh, look at that jumped. And see, the UDRC I reviewed about like this, it was brushless. That boat would constantly flip, and I couldn't drive it like this. It would constantly capsize, and then it would sink and pop back up. This one's doing great. This is what we want to see, guys. I'm gonna let Katie take over now. I just want to do some wide open. Uh-oh. There we go. We took on a little bit of water. I think we're okay. Keep it moving, Katie. It should be sealed, so we shouldn't get much water inside of there. It just kind of drove into the water a little bit there and kind of then popped back up. We'll go a few more minutes here, guys, and then we'll bring it back because we don't know how long we're going to get that low voltage state, or LVC. Keep it sort of a little bit closer, Katie. We're going to have really good range with this boat because of the Dumbo RC, and you want to keep it going quicker so it doesn't take on any water. So we had the goose out there, and he was almost unaffected by the boat. I thought that thing would have been freaked out by a boat. We don't see RC boats on these lakes that much. Good job, Katie. Whoa! You're fine. Good driving. I would say this is probably somewhere in the 20 mile per hour range. If we went 4S, you would get more, but again, as I mentioned in the table review, I don't know if 4S would be good on this 20 amp ESC. Maybe if you went with a small capacity one, but whoa, it jumped up. I just think 3S is going to be better. You're fine. Is it okay? Okay, bring it on in. Let's see. I think something's stuck on it. Okay. All right, guys. I'm going to take a look at the boat. We might come back and film a little bit more. Okay, guys. So when we pulled it up out of the water, there was a lot of gunk, as you guys can see, seaweed type stuff on the propeller and the rudder here. So it was having a little trouble steering. But the top, let me grab it, had kind of unseated itself and popped up a little bit, but I don't think it did that until right before I pulled it out of the water. But what I noticed was there was a lot of water pouring out, as you guys may have seen when I pulled the water. What happened was, this uses that cooling system through this block to cool the brushless motor, and I pulled there was a split in this, and it was split as it was on the intake here, and so the water was coming in. It wasn't going through the tube much. It was pouring into the inside of the hull. So I need to put this back on here. I pull off that torn area, but I can't out here. I don't have a tool. I can't get this back on. So I'm just going to end the video now. I need to get some needle nose pliers or tweezers, something to work that back on here, where that comes in here on the top. My overall thoughts: the boat actually drives great. It handles superb. It didn't even capsize on us, really. It was just super stable, and it's pretty quick. If you go with the this P&P version, you're going to get better range out of something like a Dumbo RC controller like I'm using. The biggest problem I have is just that, well, twofold, is obviously this little split in the tubing, which that's probably a fluke thing. It's not likely yours would have that problem. I don't know, it's just maybe when they pushed it on at the factory, it was split, and then once the water started going through it, it just became worse as we were driving it. So I did not notice that whenever I was working on it at home. But there's also, most of these boats come with like a 2-piece protection system where it has like a panel here that you lock into place, and then you put more of the cosmetic second seal on. This is just a 1-piece, and so there's not that extra protection. So whenever it opened up, water was able to get into the top. Water came in, of course, in the tube. I don't know how much water came in from the top. I think a lot of the water was coming in from the tube, of course. So it doesn't have that extra protection. Thankfully, all the electronics are fine. The receiver's not fried, the ESC, the battery. You didn't get enough water in there to damage anything. But most of these boats get a little water in them just from in from the propeller or whatever, but this one had a lot because of that tube. But again, like I said, it'd be nice if this actually had a panel underneath it so that you could have that extra protection. But overall, if you can get this boat for a good price, I can't really not recommend it because it did really great. I don't think that tube will be a problem for you. It's just a fluke thing for me. You know, if you've got a controller laying around like I do, you know, and you can get this for 80 bucks, that's pretty good, because I would not recommend the UDR Speedboat like this because it constantly sinks and will sometimes sink and capsize. It's just not even fun to drive because it flips over so much. This one's how you want it to drive. So I would recommend this one if you can get this for a good deal. But there are some other boats out there in this price range that are ready to run that are brushless. I think the WL Toys, is it 911, something like that. It's a different style. It doesn't have the, it takes on water and then flips back over. It's not this reverse forward deal like this one. That boat, I think it only runs in 2S, but it's similar speed. That one I've seen under 100 bucks. The Fayloon boats are great. The FT011 and F013, I believe it is. I always recommend those first, but I love my big yellow Racent boat, and this is, you know, that same brand. So I still would recommend it. It's just that there's probably some better options out there. So that wraps up the review of the Volantex, and this has a bunch of names. Volantex Racent Vector SR48. I think it's also called the 797-3 or something. So that's why I have a long title on this video, is I want to make sure that whatever name you know it by, you'll get directed to this video if you're looking up to consider purchasing this boat. So if you're interested in this boat, there is a purchase link down in the video description. Anytime you purchase something, it helps support the channel, but it doesn't cost you an extra cent, so you're not paying any more, but it helps so I can get more items to review, let you guys know what I think of them. So be sure to check that out. Also, if you're new to the channel, click the subscribe button, click the bell so you're notified when I do upload new videos. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.
The power of the dark side.